Hello? Testing, testing. Is this mic working?
Testing, testing.
Cool. It is time for our Oklahoma, also as now known as Chokeahoma. Um, this is technically not a must-win game, like I said in my other video, on my other live stream. This is, Texas was a game you can lose, and you're still able to make the playoffs. You're one loss in the conference. Take it as what you will. Okay, let me just get this here. And this book right here is everything we'll have tonight. Also, if you haven't already, like the stream, comment down below. Let's see if we can get this higher than 50. Come on. Also, if you're new here, I heard that YouTube said only 90% of you are not subscribed. I'd recommend you subscribe because it helps out the channel. And here we don't have any ads or any of that. It's just football, football, and more football. Let's get to it. And also, yes, we do have a lot to get to today, so let's get going. First off, let me share this. So, this game has every ounce of underratedness that you may think. And what can I say? There's two teams here. These two teams are basically, one of them's in the dump, and one of them is just embarrassed and kind of maybe has a bit of seething rage after Texas. Who knows? Where do I even begin? John Mateer did not look good in Texas. I will just tell you that. I think he's out of the Heisman. He does not have the courage to play in big games, and this scares me because usually around this time, this is when Oklahoma starts choking, and this Texas game kind of maybe threw their game off, but they'll probably bounce back. Also, quick drink break. You can't go wrong with Sprite. One of the more healthier pops out there. Okay. Okay. Let's look at this. So, on paper, this game should not be close. Oklahoma has the more elite defense than South Carolina ever could. And if you think Lenore Sellers is going to be in a good mood tomorrow on Saturday night, woo! And Saturday afternoon, you can think again because this dude will probably be running all over the place and running like as if he's getting mugged in the back alleyway. Dude's gonna be out everywhere. I mean, if LSU did what they did to Illinois, Lenore Sellers, Oklahoma's much better at doing to that. And we'll just see what happens. I think it's going to come down to who has the better team and who shows up. If Oklahoma shows up, this game will be not close, but I have my doubts. The matchup predictor shows that Oklahoma is favored by 55% and 45 underdog points for South Carolina. So the favorite is Oklahoma in this matchup. It'll be played at Wilbur Stadium, so basically South Carolina. So can Oklahoma go on the road and defeat their first road opponent since the Yeah, I guess technically since Texas because that's technically a neutral site game, but it's also a road game because it's in Texas and not Oklahoma and Norman. So who cares? Whatever. Red River could be whatever it wants. But yeah, so this will be their first true road game of the season, and if they can win out here in good fashion, they might be able to redeem themselves. And you'll see in my updated poll, there's a lot of change. Top two have not changed at all though. So John Mateer, the question around John Mateer, and I say this and I'll say this again. If John Mateer plays and he plays like he did against Michigan and every other team before Texas, we could have some of that great Oklahoma offense that we saw throughout the first couple weeks before Red River week. So this is a game that Oklahoma doesn't need. Like they can still lose and still be okay. They just won't have a cushion. But if they win this game, they have a cushion going into their next road game, which is I'm gonna put their schedule here in a moment. That team, I guess, right now until I put their schedule. This game is essentially winner in for Oklahoma. If they lose this, then they're not going to win out on every other team on their schedule for a fact, and they'll go probably 5-4, maybe 5-3. I don't know. Five at most. You're looking at like 5-10, 5-11. So you're most looking at like very elite bowl eligibility, just not playoff eligibility. On the other hand, South Carolina is out of the playoffs. This game is just they can go in, they can play dead, and nothing changes. But if they pull off the upset, this could definitely hurt Oklahoma in the long run. But again, South Carolina, they're out, they're done, their season's over. They'll probably make a bowl, just like LSU was and other teams like that. You just won't have a 3-3 team going into playoffs, and especially a 10-3. I mean, if Notre Dame's on the brink of death, then South Carolina is off the picture for entirely on that front. Take it what you will. But this is going to be an interesting game to watch. I would highly recommend people keep an eye on this game. I know you got Ole Miss and Georgia, Alabama and Tennessee, you got Vanderbilt and LSU, but this game is very heavy for who in the SEC could be the underdogs going into week 8, week 9 against some of their better opponents. But give me the Oklahoma Sooners. I'd say 24-14. Just do me a favor, don't choke, and you will be okay. But let me pull up their schedule real quick, and then we'll get to the polls. So, John Mateer. Full schedule. So, let's say, that Texas loss does not hurt them in the long run. So if they win South Carolina, they handle okay, so here's what's going to happen. This is the path to playoffs for Oklahoma. You win at South Carolina, you knock them out, then Ole Miss loses to Georgia this week and makes them a fraud. They drop out of the top 5. And so you have a chance to go in there and win, which then as a cushion. So let's say, you win South Carolina, you win to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss loses to Georgia. You'll go up a couple spots. And let's say Alabama beats Tennessee, but Tennessee loses by, say, 3 or touchdown or 3. They're not going to change, but you can lose that game, and you would still be able to win, and you would have to just win against Alabama and Missouri, and you would basically be in. Because LSU is on the brink of collapse for right now, and you'll see my poll why. But here's where it gets interesting. South Carolina, you win on the road. Then you're back home for Ole Miss. So good luck at home. You seem to be good at home. judging by your record. Here's where it gets interesting. Now, this is kind of funny because in high school, this is exactly what BA schedule is, but it's the opposite. So we have all of our home games at the beginning, which last year we had all of our home games, all the bad games we really didn't need to win, they were all in the beginning schedule, so they were all away games. It's the opposite, and then all of our home games are like the big games, like Mustang, Bixby, not Bixby, Mustang, Owasso, Union, Westmore, Westmore, Norman, North, Edmond, Memorial, Edmond, Santa Fe, all those teams. This is the opposite, where now it's all the big games are road games. So this will be interesting. So you get one more home game against Ole Miss, and then you're on the road for the next two, and then you have two homes. So let's see. So like I said, so you win South Carolina, Ole Miss gets embarrassed by Georgia, possibly. They drop, you go up. You have a cushion against Ole Miss because then you can win that one, and then basically you are safe for Tennessee. So if you lose Tennessee, then they lose to Alabama, then that's fine. Then comes the big gun. So this game right here, I'll get to this in a moment. So let's just hypothetically say you tie with Alabama. We're just going to just throw it out there. If you tie with Alabama, okay. So then Missouri. I have a feeling you are going to be tested with Missouri. This will provide you a way to get into the playoffs, to be tested for the playoffs. But you have them right after Alabama. So this final stretch is going to determine where Oklahoma goes. So like I said, let's say you lose to Missouri. So let's say you win out of Missouri and then you win out of OSU. 2 home games. So that means you go, let's see, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, so 2, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So you go 9 and then 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so you're looking at like 9. So hypothetically, if they play, let's say Alabama was replaced by like Oklahoma State or whatever, you're looking at a 9-2 Oklahoma, and we've seen 9-2 get into the playoffs. Just take a look at Indiana and all the other teams like that. So, but this right here is going to be must win. So they have to win at Carolina. They have to get that cushion. Then they have to win at Ole Miss and hope Ole Miss loses to Georgia. That makes them go up, and then Ole Miss goes down. And then Tennessee loses to Alabama, but then Oklahoma loses as well to Tennessee. Then you play Alabama. And this game is going to determine if Oklahoma will go to the playoffs. So just like last year, where this Alabama game basically took Alabama out of the playoff after the loss to Vanderbilt. So it's the opposite now, where Alabama is Oklahoma from 2024, and Oklahoma is 2024 Alabama, where they have to win Alabama to be able to go into the playoffs. Because then they have the home game, they'll win at home against LSU, so they'll be 9-3, 9-2, and they can get in. So there you go, and that's it. But let's move on to the polls because we need to get to that real quick. So I'm going to stop sharing. But man, can't wait. This will be an interesting year. All right, let's see. Now I'm going to have to explain a lot of this. All right. Here is my playoffs. Let's go through them. First, at the very bottom, you have Penn State because they suck. Break. From there, you have these are teams that are in hot water, but can still try. They can make a bowl game, but they are in hot water and they need to turn their ship around. So South Carolina, Florida State, which I'll get to in a moment, Florida, Arizona State, Auburn, Arkansas, Michigan, Illinois. So first off, Illinois needs to win out. Their schedule should be good. They don't have to play the Buckeyes, thankfully. So sorry, wait. No, they played the Buckeyes. They don't have to play any other teams like that. But they're still in hot water. So basically, let me see. So, oh, I should have moved them out. Well, I didn't have it. Yeah, never mind. I should have moved Arkansas out, but whatever. Just think of these as like the teams that will not make it into the playoffs and just will make a bowl. So Illinois, Michigan, they're done. Illinois is done. Like even if they went out, they won't be able to make. They won't be able to even touch Indiana. These two teams up here. Arkansas is done. Auburn is done for sure. After Jackson Arnold sacked 20 times last week. Arizona State's done. They lost big time. Florida's done. Florida State's gonna just move into a bowl game and possibly play Florida. And then South Carolina is out of the playoffs for sure. But again, they can still, the reason they're in hot water is they can still upset Oklahoma, which would in turn upset Oklahoma's chances at making it into the playoffs with sorry, an easy cushion. Alrighty. And don't worry, we'll get to Notre Dame. Here are these teams that still have a chance. So these are like teams that are kind of rocky right now, but they still have a chance to rebound, even though they lost, and still make the playoffs. Ole Miss, like I said, if you lose against Georgia and you lose badly against Georgia, then you are going to be dropping a lot. And like I said, you have to then go play Oklahoma at home, which means if you lose to there, you are basically guaranteed out of the playoffs. So this is kind of a must-win for Ole Miss in a way, but it's not. Tulane, right there with some of these other teams like Cincinnati, Utah, Texas Tech, Georgia Tech. Who else? No, I guess, but these are some of the best Power Five group of five teams, which we'll get to in a moment with these guys. So they can still win. They just need to not lose. They win out their schedule. They can make a champ. They could possibly make it to the playoff. Washington's iffy. Texas, the win against Oklahoma saved their season. That was the only reason they still have a chance to play off. They lose, they are basically sort of in must win territory. They must win out their next. They have to win another ranked game to have a cushion. If they lose to another ranked team, then just there is this just because you beat Oklahoma doesn't mean you are good to be able to run into the playoffs. You still have to prove that on the field. Again, on any given Saturday, you can get beat until the end of the earth, which is talk about it with Illinois. Talk about it with Illinois; they'll tell you all about it. Tennessee, LSU, and TCU. These three I have right here because TCU is another loss. They still have a chance in the Big 12. In the Big 12, they still have to play Colorado, but they can still bounce back. But they do have a tough schedule. LSU, again, like I said, they win out. They still have a rocky chance there, but if they win out, they could possibly get in, but they might not. They might just make a bowl. Tennessee, like I said, you lose to Alabama and then you win against Oklahoma, you are guaranteed at least some seed. You're guaranteed a lower seed into the playoffs, no matter what. And the outlier of the group, Notre Dame. Oh dear. Like I said, Notre Dame is a must win. If Notre Dame loses to UCS this Saturday, Notre Dame is done. So they are the only team that are right now. They must win out in the playoff race to have a shot. But now we get to the interesting ones because that was just one case. Welcome to the tie. So these are teams that can get in, but it's going to come down to the committee who's going to be selected by the committee and potential ties in the SEC in these conferences. We'll get to Vanderbilt in a second, but Georgia Tech, Utah. Georgia Tech, Houston, Missouri, South Florida, USC, Navy, Vanderbilt, Oregon, and Georgia. I'll get to these three in a moment. Navy is probably the only military school that will make it into the playoffs. We'll get to U2 in a second, but these three right here are in a tight race. Georgia Tech and Houston are in a tight race with South Florida. Sorry, not South Florida. In a tight race in the ACC with Tulane and Cincinnati, Texas Tech, and also BYU. Sorry, not BYU. Cincinnati. So Cincinnati too. No, Cincinnati. I meant, yeah. So there's these three teams. So they're in a tie with. These two are the front runners. USC is there as well, but it's basically a horse race for Georgia Tech, Tulane, Houston, USC, sorry, and also BYU. But we'll get to this, and I'll get to the reason why I didn't put Oklahoma here in a second. But here is where it gets interesting. UCF and Florida. Florida is the underdog in these. In the South American Conference. So, which is Florida, Florida State, Miami, and all that. So they're the front runner. They're the sneaky ones in here. So they got to be careful. But this could be an interesting matchup. We'll see what happens with Florida State, South Florida. But just keep an eye on this dark horse team. This is my dark horse team, by the way. So they better not fail me. And USC, obviously, if they win out against Notre Dame, they knock Notre Dame off. They have a huge statement win, and they'll be in a running with Oregon, Vandy, Georgia, Navy, Alabama, BYU, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Indiana, and A&M. Vanderbilt, again, with the loss to Alabama, they're going to rebound. They'll probably cook LSU to shreds, and then they went out and they're guaranteed a potential tie with Georgia, Alabama, and A&M, Oklahoma if they win, Texas if they come back, and even like I said, even Michigan in the playoffs. So, I mean not Michigan, Ohio State coming to town, because guess who Oregon plays soon? Ohio State. If you don't believe me, I'll prove it. I'll prove it right here. Oh wait, they don't. I forgot they actually don't. Hold on. Give me a second. So Ohio State, who do they play again? I forgot. Pitt State, they're gonna win that one. So never mind. Forget what I said. Just forget what I said. Never mind. Just know that Oregon does play one of these two teams in the championship if they win it. Georgia is in a tie with Alabama and A&M, along with potentially Oklahoma. Like I said, I'll explain in a minute. So Oklahoma, again, if they win out, they go into here, then they will be tied with Georgia, possibly Texas, A&M, Vanderbilt, and Missouri, and of course, can't leave them out, Ole Miss. So let me explain what would happen in this. Basically, pretty soon the SEC is going to be a complete chaotic arena. It'll be a gladiator fight. So be on the lookout for that. I'll explain that again tomorrow. Like I said, I've got some streams tomorrow. So keep an eye out for these teams right here. Alrighty, and also Oklahoma. These teams, they lose one, they are still in. A&M, they cushion themselves enough so if Texas Tech, no shock there. Even if they lose, they can still get in. Cincinnati, same thing. Alabama, same thing. BYU, same thing. Indiana, same thing. A&M, same thing. Although A&M does have to win out against Texas, which will be interesting because that'll be it'll just be interesting in that match. We'll get there, and you can tell where the drop is. These two teams are guaranteed. No matter, these teams are going into the playoffs, whether you like it or not. Even Notre Dame, they're going into the playoffs. Ohio State and Miami. I'm going to leave it at that. Ohio State is the front runner to win it all again. Miami's a close second. When these two play, when I can't wait to see these two play, it'll be a match of the century. Penn State's gone though. Penn State's just out of the entire like they I had to make it. They're so bad. I made their own separate place just for them. But yeah, here's my week 7 rank. Here's my eighth. Here's the Alex poll for week 7, and this is also going into week 8. Like I said, tomorrow I will have the playoffs done and all that. So, but yeah, whew, this is going to be an interesting schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you all for watching. I know even if there's no one that was watching, I'm aware of that. Thank you all for joining me, and be on the lookout. 5:50 tomorrow. We will have the playoff. I believe the updated playoff ranking, updated college football playoff. My personal playoff picture, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So thank you all so much for watching. Sorry this was a push to a late night stream. Wanted to give you guys something special. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Remember, love college football forever. Thank you so much for watching. One more drink for the win. Well, can Oklahoma do it? We'll find out on Saturday. As always, thank you for watching.